Welcome to Thomistic Womanhood. In today's video, we're going to continue our series on goodness, and we're going to talk about, I was going to call it feminine dependency, but I think it's better termed accepting help from men. So this is another area that is like super important in dating because it is very fundamental to what attracts men to us in a deeper way, and that what makes them want to stick around. And that is the ability to be needed and to feel useful. So men want to feel useful to you. You know, obviously as women, there's plenty of stuff we can do on our own, like this is not the 50s. It's important to let a man help you with something or let him provide something for you. You know, if he wants to bring you takeout or he wants to buy you something, you know, just let him. Men love to do that. There is like, it literally gives them a feeling of manliness to be able to help you with something. Like, they love that. It's like a feather in their cap. Now, this is different for us women because we want to help too, but it can often lead to like a sense of feeling like a martyr. I feel like us women, we don't really have an off switch to where we can be like, okay, I have given enough, I'm done. You know, we just give till it hurts. And I think sometimes we can maybe think that men are the same way, and we can kind of be a little hesitant to accept their help and think, oh, well, maybe he'll resent me if I need his help too much, or maybe if I ask him for help, like he's not gonna like that. But men are different than us. They do have an off switch for that. Men will get to a point where they're like, okay, I've done too much giving, I'm gonna back off. And that's why sometimes you can ask a man for something and, you know, he'll say no, and you're like, oh, you know, and then it can be kind of weird because you're like, well, I heard men like to be helpful and I asked for help and they said no. It depends on a few things. You know, you may have just caught him at a bad time. And like I said, you know, maybe he was exhausted that day and it was bad timing. Another thing too is, you know, the way you ask for something. You know, while we're on this subject of men like to help, it is important on how you ask for that help. You don't want to ask for it in like an accusatory way. So let's say this is not really relevant to single women. This is more relevant, like say if you're married and you guys live together. Let's say he's offered to take out the trash every few days. And, you know, up until now, he's been great and he always does that. But then let's say that he hasn't done it and the trash is piling up and you're getting frustrated. If you go to him and you're like, you never take out the trash anymore, you know, can you please take it out? And you're like upset, then it's gonna kind of like put him on the spot and turn it into like a confrontation. A better way to go about it is to, you know, basically just be like, you know, show him the problem, you know, just be like, hey, would you mind emptying the trash? It's been piling up and it's making the kitchen smell really bad. That's a different conversation from the one previously, you know, that puts it on, it's a different dynamic. And it's important to say, would you please do this? Or do you mind doing this? Or, you know, is it okay if we do blah, blah, blah? Because you want to ask in a respectful way, you know, just as you want a man to ask you and talk to you in a respectful way, like men want that too. You want it to be a question, not an accusation, you know, and oftentimes if you just tell a man what the problem is, you know, the trash is piling up and it's kind of, you know, it's making things stink really bad. And then he'll be like, oh, sorry, I forgot, you know, like, so it's kind of like that. And again, men like to be helpful. You know, there is one of the biggest problems with feminism right now is there is a very strong tendency of us women to loudly declare that we don't need a man. You know, like, this is 2021, I don't need a man. I can get my own money and I can get this. And it's like, well, you have to understand that that is incredibly alienating to men, especially men that you would want to see you in a romantic way. Because men do not approach, we have talked about this so many times on this channel, men do not approach relationships the way we do. With us, it's about the being and the love and the connection, you know, and just the experience. Men, it's more utilitarian. Like, they're coming to this relationship with a goal. And their goal, every guy's goal in a relationship with, you know, the woman he loves. I mean, obviously, if you're just like a one-night stand, the goal is completely different. But if you're a woman that he sees as having like long-term potential, somebody that he is or wants to commit to, or is considering committing to, his goal is going to be different. His goal is literally to make you happy. And one of the ways men, think they achieve that goal, and often they do achieve that goal in reality, is they want to be useful to you. They want to do things for you. So, when you're on a date, they like to be the one driving. They want to plan a restaurant that they think you'll like, or, they want to take you on a date, like let's say it's an amusement park. They want to take you to the rides that they think you're going to be most happy with. They want to please you. Really, they do. And men get an enormous sense of accomplishment and pride and a feeling of importance if they can make the woman of their choice happy. If they do things for her and she smiles and goes, wow, thank you, I really appreciate that, it makes them so happy. They really love that. And this is something that is so central to a relationship, and also central to the happiness of a guy in a relationship and how he evaluates if this is, the right relationship for him. He wants to feel needed. And so if you take that feeling away from him, and you don't really accept his help in anything, he's not going to feel much of an attraction for you, because he's not going to feel like he's really doing anything useful. He's going to be like, I don't know why she dates me. Like, I don't do anything to make her life better. Like, I don't feel needed here. This is where men will often say, like, have you ever gotten in a fight with your boyfriend? And he was like, I don't feel like you need me. Then that's kind of what this is about. Men need to feel needed. They need to feel like they're contributing something to the partnership that you can't get on your own. This is why careers can be such a hot button topic, and why there's been so much debate about whether, when you're married, should you have a career, should you be a stay-at-home wife or whatever. Obviously the economic situation varies, but in general, men want to feel like they're contributing something. And often the easiest way, and the most men view as the most important way, is contributing financially. Now, again, the economic situation is different. Sometimes men will contribute less than the woman, whatever. But in general, men can attach a lot of importance on at least being able to provide for you adequately. Maybe the wife still has a part-time job, but the husband is still contributing financially, and that's really important to him to be able to do that, because then he's like, well, I'm providing for her, I'm making her life easier. I'm making it so she doesn't have to like commute in traffic and put up with a crappy boss. I'm saving her from all those problems. In a sense, he's rescuing her from that problem. And then that frees her up to, maybe stay home with the kids, have a part-time job, maybe that she pursues because it's work she enjoys, not necessarily work she has to take, to pay bills. For those of you that have careers or have jobs, there's a lot of the time where you have had to take jobs simply because they paid enough and not because it was something you had a passion for. We all want to follow our bliss and, do work you love, and you won't work a day in your life. And honestly, that's not economically realistic a lot of the time. A lot of us have to take jobs because we have to, and we have bills. And, men often see that and they want to alleviate that problem. And so, if they feel they can contribute financially, then they feel that they've solved that problem for you. And then at that point, if you don't have to worry about money, like, you can get a part-time job, like I said, something you enjoy. Now, again, with the way our economy is, not everybody has that luxury, of having a husband provide everything for them. But it's kind of what I'm doing is I'm using that as an example to kind of illuminate the point I'm making here, that, men, they like to feel needed, and it is very crucial to their, wanting to stay in a relationship. That's one of the things they evaluate. It's, does this woman need me? Am I successful in making her happy? Do I feel like she appreciates and needs what I give? If he doesn't feel like that, then there's not going to be like that glue between you guys. Have you ever had relationships, or maybe you were dating someone and you were trying to start a relationship, or it was like a situationship, and you just didn't feel that glue, there was just nothing really holding them there, you just kind of felt like he could float off at any moment, or, You know, if you weren't the one texting, like, yeah, he didn't really text himself, you know? There just wasn't that glue holding you guys together. And there are multiple factors on that glue. But one of the biggest factors of that is that feeling of need.